Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race lineup this weekend. This is the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy pros, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Welcome to another edition of the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Tyler Burnett. He's Robbie Mays. Robbie, what'd you think of Atlanta, man?
It was interesting.
Was it?
It was very interesting. Obviously, Kevin Harvick is the best driver at Atlanta Motor Speedway right now, and the fact he led, 292 laps last year and almost 200 laps this year, finally got the win, though, so that was good.
Yep.
A lot of drivers struggled, including all of the Hendrick cars.
Oh, yeah.
Chase Elliott was okay, but I wouldn't put too much stock into what happened in Atlanta. A little bit, but not a lot, because it's an old racetrack. Handling was weird. The way the cautions played out, it was weird. The weather was weird. I don't know if much of that's going to carry over to Las Vegas this weekend. We'll see, but I don't know how much you can take off of what happened last week going into the rest of the season.
Lap times in final practice were huge for fantasy racing. I mean, Kevin Harvick obviously was the best.
Right.
Clint Boyer was very good, which surprised me going into the weekend, and he was good throughout the week. He was fast in average in final practice at Atlanta. You mentioned the Hendrick thing. That's just unbelievable to me. Chase finished 10th, only on pit strategy. He was running around 15th to 20th most of the day. Alex Bowman was 20th. Yeesh. Yeah. William Byron was 18th, and Jimmy Johnson was 27th. Johnson, Robbie, he's 35th in points now.
Yeah.
25 race winless streak. That's the longest of his career, but every time Jimmy Johnson has had a winless streak of 18 or longer, he's won at a mile-and-a-half racetrack, and he's very good at Vegas.
Every time we count Jimmy Johnson out, he goes out and makes us look foolish. So yeah. I would, not saying he's probably going to win this weekend, but he tore up 3 cars at Daytona. He crashed in the Clash. He crashed in the Duel. He crashed in the 500. Sunday at Atlanta was unfortunate, but this team right now, Jimmy Johnson knows how to drive a race car. Chad Knaus knows how to set up a race car. Give them time. They'll get where they need to be.
Kevin Harvick was a man among
children. He was letting off before he got to the second dog leg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was letting off almost a start-finish line. So that's ridiculous how good he is at that racetrack.
5th straight race he's led the most laps there. 907 laps over the last 5 races he's led at Atlanta.
But only 2 wins in his entire career there.
I know.
Yep.
That's crazy. Stewart-Haas Racing was dominant in general.
They were.
I mean, and we'll get to more of the stats here in a second, but Stewart-Haas Racing was so good at Atlanta. All their cars in the top 13. That was the first time since New Hampshire of last year, and only the second time ever they've had all the cars in the top 13.
We talked last week about the Fords, and we weren't sure if the Fords were going to be good at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You know how many Fords there were in the top 10? 5.
Yeah.
Half the top 10 were Fords.
Is it because of Atlanta, though? I mean, is it, or is it going to show up this weekend at Vegas?
Again, I don't know how much stock we can take in the rest of the season based on what happened at Atlanta. Vegas is going to be the true test of what happens the rest of the season, I think.
Coming up on the show today, Kim Coon will join us. That'll be good to have Kimmy on the show for the first time this year. I'm really surprised that you have not mentioned where you finished this week.
Oh, yeah, I finished 39th on Sunday.
Well, we're 2 minutes into the show, and you haven't even mentioned it yet.
I've had other things on my mind.
Yeah, whatever. Kim Coon's going to join us. We'll play Under the Rock. We'll play a little Grind My Gears, Sideswipe, a whole bunch of stuff. So week number 3 of the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show continues. We'll be back after this, presented by Hercules Tires.
If your wiper blades are worn and streaking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and save $8 instantly on a pair of Trico Force wiper blades. Improve visibility and save money with Trico Force wiper blades. Plus, take advantage of O'Reilly Auto Parts' free wiper blade installation. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The 1993 Cup Series season had more than its fair share of twists and turns.
Checkered flags waving. I look in my mirror, and here's Earnhardt right on my tail, and he goes down low to pass me. And I said, oh, no, you don't.
As Wallace spins, Wallace's car goes on its nose.
Here's stories that you've never heard before in a 10-part series called The 1993 Season, 25 years later.
And Davey was behind me, and we came off the corner, and there's a guy standing in the middle of the racetrack.
You can download it for free on iTunes and at MRN.com right now.
A new season is here, and NASCAR Today takes you along for the ride every weekday.
Everything that I've been working on for the last 16 years, just bring that.
We'll bring you the veterans and the up-and-coming stars as they battle it out on the track and behind the scenes.
All these punk kids are all follow them on Instagram. I just had to shut them off.
NASCAR Today. No hidden costs, no assembly required, and cleanup is easy.
I'm Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Listen to NASCAR Today right here.
Yay or nay, go or stay. It's time for the inside line to sideswipe the competition. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
One of the many games we have on this show is called Sideswipe, and if you don't know about it, it's basically like a dating app, and we tell you who is going to be good this weekend by swiping left or right. Robbie Mays, is there some breaking news that you're back on the plan?
Yeah, I'm back.
I'm
I'm back to sideswipe the home game.
What happened?
I'm back to sideswipe the home game. Let's move on.
All right, Daryl, what's up?
Follow me at Twitter at Robbie Mays. You'll hear more this week.
Who's our first driver?
Denny Hamlin.
That's you.
Okay. All right. Denny Hamlin finished 4th last week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Denny Hamlin has had some success in bunches here at Las Vegas over the years. Finished 6th last year. Finished outside the top 10 2 races before that. Las Vegas this year is going to be different than Las Vegas in previous years because previous years we only went there once in March. This year, and we haven't really talked about the schedule changes this year, we go to Las Vegas this weekend. Oh, and by the way, we go back there to start the playoffs in September. So I think this year you're going to see drivers trying to figure out Las Vegas a little bit more differently than they have before because they normally don't have to worry about it for a year. This year I think you're going to have to worry about it a lot more than you have in past years. I'm just going to swipe no on Denny Hamlin, just because I've got a gut feeling he might not be a strong option this weekend, and that's the way it is.
I think you're wrong. I think Hamlin's going to be good.
I think you're wrong.
I think, okay, so
by the way, he's got this little drum set over here,
yeah.
So every time I say something he doesn't like.
I had Hamlin last week. He ended up being in my garage driver spot because he didn't get enough stage points in the first stage. I kept Clint Boyer, which was the right call. He ended up finishing a little bit better than Hamlin. Hamlin was 6th at Las Vegas. He had a lot of speed last week. I think he'll have even more speed this week. I think he's a top 5 car. I think Hamlin. I think if you have not used Hamlin in allocation yet, I think he would be a good change of pace compared to a Kevin Harvick, a Martin Truex Jr., a Brad Keselowski that you potentially have used already at Daytona and Atlanta. Don't you think?
I'm not going to use him.
Whatever. You could be wrong like you were with Austin Dillon in the 500.
I'm going to wait till Martinsville for Denny Hamlin.
All right, who's our next driver?
Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott. All right. So let's start off this way. Let's start off positive, all right?
Okay.
I've taken some notes here. Best in the West in 2017, all right? Las Vegas, Phoenix, Auto Club, the 3 races that we go on the West Coast swing. Chase Elliott is 4th. Well, was 4th last year. Kyle Larson was P1, second, first. So 2nd at Las Vegas, 2nd at Phoenix, 1st at Auto Club.
Right.
Keselowski was 5th, and 2nd. Truex was 1st, which he won Las Vegas last year, 11th and 4th. And Chase Elliott was the 4th best. He finished 3rd at Las Vegas. All right, he's in the top 10 of driver rating at Las Vegas. The thing that concerns me is that he was not good at Atlanta. Most of the Hendrick Motorsports cars were not, actually.
No, they weren't.
He finished 10th. If you started him, you got an okay finish out of him. But he didn't run in the 15th through 20th range. I mean, he was somewhere around there most of the race. I'm going to swipe left on Chase Elliott. I actually like him at Phoenix, so I'm going to keep him till then.
The thing about Las Vegas is, and I don't know how much you can take from the test that they had there in January, but the Camaros were the fastest of all the cars there. Kyle Larson was fastest both days. That's the only thing I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Yeah, that's true. All right, next pick.
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson. All right. I just talked about him. Kyle Larson was fastest at the test. He did okay at Atlanta. I didn't have him on my team. But I think he might be a good option this weekend. We just talked about his track record there in the past. I'm swiping right on Kyle Larson this weekend. I think he might be a good choice. Obviously not off to the I don't feel like he's where he was this time last year. But again, with allocation purposes, this might be a good track to pull him out of the closet for. So I'm going to swipe right on Kyle.
I'm going to watch the practice speeds with Kyle Larson. I think that he potentially could get you a W this week. I think he could maybe win this race. You mentioned how good he was at the Las Vegas test, and I mean that's really, I mean, you could base it off of that a little bit, but you're not going through tech when you're doing those tests. You don't know if he had a legal car going there. You don't know. I mean, he obviously was not a top 5 car this past week. He ran top 5 most of the race, but he did not finish in the top 5. He's actually not top 10 in driver rating at Las Vegas, which really surprised me because he finished second, the last time we were there. So
he was the highest finishing.
I'm going to watch practice. Kyle Larson potentially could be on my team this week, but I started him last week.
Yeah.
So, and I made the mistake of not pulling him off my garage driver. All right, who's the next one?
Martin Truex Jr.
All right, Martin Truex Jr. That's a very easy one, in my opinion. I've actually saved Martin Truex Jr. so far. I haven't started him yet. Did you start him last week?
I did not.
I didn't start him because he started 35th. There was a good chance he wasn't going to win stage 1.
I started him on DraftKings. I did not start him on NASCAR.
Oh, well, DraftKings.
Yeah.
You start 35th, it's an automatic start
yeah.
On DraftKings. He showed that he was fast enough to get to the front of the field in the first stage.
He finished, what, second in stage 1? Or third in stage 1?
I don't know where
it was something ridiculous.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But I've had a good inkling that he wasn't going to win both stages. That's why I didn't start him. He finished 5th at Atlanta, right?
He was in the top 5 before the competition caution on lap 30. So he made up 30 spots in 30 laps.
I'm just going to say, I'll just say it before Kim Coon says it. I think Martin Truex Jr. wins this weekend. I think he wins both stages, and I think he wins. That's going to be on my team.
Yeah.
He is very, very good at mile-and-a-half racetracks. He's 7th in driver rating at Las Vegas. So with that, I'm going to swipe right on Martin Truex Jr. I think he wins this weekend.
I think he has a very good opportunity to win. I definitely think he's going to lead a ton of laps, win a couple of stages, might be a threat for the pole later on today. The thing I'll say about Martin Truex is he didn't overly impress me at Atlanta last week, but he finished 5th.
Yeah.
He led 1 lap, but you go back to last year, he finished 8th at Atlanta, led no laps. I think he's got a shot this weekend.
I have a pretty good guess at who Kim's going to pick to win the race.
I want to save him for allocation purposes for the second half of the year. I want to save him.
Okay, so look, if you look at how many mile-and-a-half racetracks we have left, I didn't use him at Atlanta, which I don't know if it was a great call. It was an okay call.
Yeah.
He finished 5th. I think it was good to hold on to him because I got 10 allocation left on him. But I have a good suspicion that Kimmy is going to pick Brad Keselowski to win because he should have won this race last year.
Sure.
And Truex was in the media center last week and said, "Look, I didn't deserve to win Vegas because Brad Keselowski was better."
Yeah.
So
all right,
we'll see.
Who's next?
Next pick.
Joey Logano.
Joey Logano. I'm swiping right on Joey Logano. I feel good when he comes to a fast racetrack like this. Again, the Fords were okay last week. He finished 6th at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I think Joey Logano still has a lot to prove from his disappointing season a year ago. And I know Todd Gordon's got something up his sleeve, so I'm going right on Joey this week.
He led 74 laps in 2016, 47 in 2015, and 44 in 2014. All right, what about our next one?
Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski. That's a no-brainer to me, in my opinion. He was great at Atlanta. 6th in driver rating at Las Vegas. I think you have to start Brad Keselowski. I think he's another good one to pick to win the race this weekend. So Brad Keselowski, I'm going to swipe right. Absolutely. Start Brad Keselowski this weekend, no matter if it's DraftKings or if it's on NASCAR Fantasy Live. All right, Let's cue it up. Grind my gears, Robbie Mays.
He's spewing venom and spitting nails. Time now for everyone's favorite curmudgeon as Robbie Mays presents Grind My Gears.
You know what really grinds my gears? All these people last week who got on their armchair weatherman box and said, we need to postpone the race. Just wait a second. Just wait and see what it's actually going to do before you sit here and think about that. There's so much to do to go ahead and just postpone a race. You can sit here and say, oh, we're never going to race. Oh, it's going to get delayed, blah, 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 blah. You know how many laps we ran on Sunday at Atlanta? 325. You know how many laps were scheduled to run Sunday at Atlanta? 325. It delayed the start, but we should never, ever, ever, ever delay a race, say we're going to move a race back. The people who predict the weather, let them predict the weather, and everybody else, just hang on.
You've had enough time. That's good. That's good.
I'm surprised this segment has made it 3 weeks.
That was horrible. Yeah.
I've had a very emotional week.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk to Kim Coon next. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
One final lap of the Daytona 500. Joey Logano has the point. Junior crosses over.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
Time just flies when you're busy, I think.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
And Martin Truex Jr. is a champion.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
You never know if you'll get another chance to do it.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to the Inside Line. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Heading to Las Vegas this week for the third race?
Yes.
For the Cup Series. And hopefully you have some success on your fantasy team. Rango the Chicken, I just have to mention him. He finished 52nd in points.
And I finished 39th.
Well, he's actually 52nd ranked right now. He has 429 points.
Let's get to our guest.
You're 39th. Kim Coon does not play in our fantasy league. She does. Wait, are you in our fantasy league, Kim Coon? I think you play fantasy, but I don't know if you're in our league.
No, remember I tried to be in your league, and your league is maxed out, so there was no room for me in your league.
Well, we'll kick Tyler out and put you in.
How have you been doing in NASCAR Fantasy Live?
I've been doing pretty well. I'm I think top 150 in the league I'm in. So not terrible, but definitely could be better.
Top 150. How many's in your league?
I think there's about 2,000, close to 2,000.
Pretty good.
So like decent. Top 10%.
Yeah, top 10%. I can't do math. I'm glad you said that.
I was told there would be no math.
You're going to Las Vegas, right?
I am, just for a quick little stint to do a couple things, and then back here.
Oh, so you get to watch the race from home.
I am. I'm going to watch the race from home. If I'm not working the race, I like to have my own command center with the TV on, as well as the radio coverage, my computer, my phone. I like everything. I like a full command center so I can keep track of everything that's going on.
And those drinks that are like shredded up grass that you like to drink, right?
I might have a green smoothie or two. Yes.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, Kim, first stop of the season at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Last few years, we've seen a Toyota win. We've seen a Ford win. We've seen a Chevrolet win. Last weekend, it was the Ford show. We're going to see that carry over to Las Vegas this weekend, the Fords dominating like they did last week?
I don't know about dominating. I do think they're going to be strong. For whatever reason, they've been strong out of the gate, in my opinion, specifically the Penske team. So Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Joe Logano. I think all season I'm going to have my eye on them, which is a different story from last season. Obviously, Penske, I think, was a little bit behind the eight ball last season. Well, I don't know what they did, but they have picked up. They seem to be ahead of the pack. Specifically this weekend, I'm going to have my eye on Keselowski. He's a two-time winner at Las Vegas. He finished second last weekend. So I think specifically for Keselowski, that momentum from Atlanta is going to carry over to Vegas.
Yeah, and last season, Brad Keselowski won Atlanta, should have won Las Vegas before a tire issue with 2 laps to go caused him to lose that race, and Truex won the race. Logano was pretty good, too. Of course, he wrecked Kyle Busch at the end of the race, and there was that big fight at Las Vegas last year. But they were strong. So outside of the Fords, though, who do you like?
You're an idiot if you don't pick Truex. You look at last year, what he was able to do on mile-and-a-half tracks, won 7 of the last 11 races on mile-and-a-half tracks. I think his average finish is 2.75 on mile-and-a-half tracks in the last year. And then just look at the race at Las Vegas last year. He swept all 3 states. Mm-hmm. So, again, if you do not have him in your fantasy lineup, get your head checked.
Get your head checked.
One driver in the past that we've always thought about at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and we talked about him in the last segment, Jimmy Johnson, has just had a horrible year so far for the first 3 races that we've run in 2018. You're Jimmy Johnson. Are you panicking right now, or is it just, wait and see what happens as the season goes along?
I think it's a little bit of wait and see. He's struggled the last 2 weeks. Hendrick in general last year and then the beginning of this year has struggled outside of, Chase Elliott being relatively consistent. But you look at Johnson and his record at Vegas is great. He's got 4 wins there, the all-time winner. But he hasn't won since 2010. So he's a driver that I would consider maybe my garage driver, somebody that's on the bench that I maybe would move in depending on how the race is playing out. My confidence in him right now is not strong in general. But it's Jimmy Johnson, it's Chad Canal, it's Hendrick. Things go in waves. So ultimately, at some point, he's going to be back at the top. It's just a matter of when.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kim, you just mentioned your garage driver, and I actually changed mine out last week for the first time since we've gone to this system. How are you finding this garage driver system? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you find it like a hindrance, or what are your thoughts on the garage driver system?
I think this is the best feature right now of fantasy. It makes me pay more attention to the race. Not that I'm not paying attention, but it just gets me more engrossed in the race, even more so. And I've actually used my garage driver both races this season. So I made the switch in Daytona, and then last weekend I actually switched my driver twice, my garage driver. So I forget who I had on the bench, but switched him out and then switched him back out again. So I think this is hands down my favorite feature because you just don't ever know what's going to happen. So it's really cool that if your lineup, if somebody, is just struggling, you have the opportunity to flip somebody in there. But, there's some uncertainty to that too, because you could certainly swap in a garage driver and then that driver wrecks out in stage 3. So there's, it's not a guarantee, which is what I like about it. It's kind of like gambling. We're going to Vegas, so using your garage driver is a little bit of a gamble.
I agree with you. I think it's a great addition to the game. And what I was actually dealing with the opposite. I didn't have anybody who wrecked or was struggling last week. I had all 7, what is it, 6? You get 5 and 6. So I had all 6 of my guys in the top 7, and they were all good. I had to look at stage points with Clint Boyer had 9 in the first stage, and I had to decide between he, Kyle Larson, and Denny Hamlin if I wanted to keep him or not, and I picked the wrong one. So that was I kept Denny Hamlin in the garage driver spot. I dropped Kyle Larson where Kyle Larson struggled in the last stage. What about your winner? Who do you think? I mean, we're going to put you on the spot here. So our guest, this is our 3rd show. So we've had 2 shows so far, is 0 for 2. Are you going to pick the winner this week for us or what?
I've said the winner. I think it's Truex. You have to pick Truex.
Oh, man. You picked the same one as me. Okay. I'm going to have to change mine at the end because I thought you were going to pick Brad Keselowski.
I told you I'm watching Keselowski. I think his momentum's going to carry over. But, again, Truex's numbers at mile-and-a-half tracks, his appearance last year at this race was uncanny to any other driver. So not only do you need to have him in your picks, you have to pick him as the winner. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're trying to play it safe. Now, there's a lot of other drivers that I think are going to do well, but based on the evidence I have in front of me, I've got to pick Truex.
All right. I'm just going to steal him. Low-hanging fruit.
I will say, though, I am also keeping my eye on Larson just because of how well he did last year when we hit the West Coast swing. Yeah. I think he's got, out of all of the drivers in the field, he seems to be the one driver that's kind of figured out each of the next 3 tracks we're going to. Now, does that mean he's going to win at all 3? I don't necessarily know that, but he seems to have figured out how he has to race each of those tracks to do well.
All right, Kimmy, thanks for coming on the show. Enjoy Sin City.
I will.
All right. Kim Coon, everyone. That's love having her on the show.
I really thought she was going to pick the 2.
So did I. Because you know why? Because she was in here today, and she told me she was going to pick the 2.
Yeah.
And then she gets on here and steals my pick.
Oh, it sounds like somebody else I know that says one thing and then ends up picking a different.
That's what's bad about going to the end of the show and having to pick our picks. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to get Rango's picks. Rango Fowler, who's having a superb start to the season in 2018. We're also going to play Under the Rock, unfortunately, and make our picks. That's all coming your way on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show, presented by Hercules Tires.
Restore your vehicle's lost power by cleaning your entire fuel system with Chevron Tech-Run Fuel System Cleaner. Right now, buy one bottle and get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts, plus get double O-Rewards points on your purchase. Keep your engine clean with Chevron Tech-Run Fuel System Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Mayhem, a state of havoc, pandemonium, bedlam, or madness.
The Keselowski tangle. Kurt Busch slams the inside wall.
Then he goes up the racetrack, and here comes Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch, oh, Elliott spin!
Mayhem, what happens at Martinsville. Tickets are on sale now for the STP 500 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race on March 25th. Call 877-RACE-TICKS or visit martinsvillespeedway.com to purchase yours. Martinsville Speedway, the half mile of mayhem.
Join MRN as we travel through the life of NASCAR's most popular driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes back to the Daytona International Speedway, leading the pack.
I won races that I never thought I'd win.
From growing up under the Earnhardt name to super speedway wins to Whiskey River, we dive into everything Dale Jr.
He's Rain Man for NASCAR history.
You know, we weren't the typical family that got to sit down to dinner together.
Tune in to Junior's Journey, available on iTunes for download only on the Motor Racing Network.
Life up under a rock, or are you Tyler Burnett?
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Robbie Mays. He lives under a rock. What, are you not holding up 1-1 this week? He held up a 1-0 last week.
My record is 1-1.
Yeah.
So
it's about to be 1-2.
1-1 and under the rock.
All right, we've already done the thing.
What thing?
Forget how we do this thing this year. So this is a musical selection. From a group of persons or a person. I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to give it away. I either need the name of the song, the group, anything like that. So, Daryl, let's cue it up. Let's play Under a Rock or Tyler. Anything.
So I can give you the name of the song? It's just You Don't Love Me Now?
No.
That's not the name of the song?
No.
Then why do they say it 70 times?
I don't know.
Oh. Why do they say it 70 times if that's not the name of the song?
I don't know. That is called The Chain by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, I hate Fleetwood Mac.
We were talking about this earlier in the week. That song came out February 4th, 1977.
Okay, well, if you saw the tweet... I tweeted, okay, so one of my favorite songs ever is called Landslide. Originally by Fleetwood Mac, but, performed better by the Dixie Chicks, in my opinion. That's the only song I know that Fleetwood Mac has ever made. So, and she doesn't sing it correctly. Rango Fowler, bring it in. What was that song called again?
Chain.
The Chain?
Yeah.
Why did she say You Don't Love Me Now 60 times?
Ow.
I didn't hear her say chain. So Rango Fowler right now sits 52nd in points. 429 points he has.
Rich Colbreth is going to get slapped.
Is Rango Fowler a he or a she?
It's a he.
It's a he. Okay.
I think.
I really question whether the chicken is actually making these
While
picks
you're
or not.
opening that, we've got the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Stratosphere 200, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MRN.com or your local MRN affiliate.
All right. His team, Rango Fowler's, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski.
Thank you for clearing that
Ryan
up.
Blaney, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr. His garage driver is going to be Kevin Harvick. Kyle Larson will be his pole winner. Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex Jr. are going to win the stages. And then the winner is Martin Truex Jr. I really like that team, actually. Logano, Keselowski, I'm not... Blaney's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to... I think there might be a better pick there. Harvick in the garage, so...
Okay.
I think maybe Harvick goes in your lineup.
Sure.
All right, who wins?
I'm going to pick the guy who has 4 straight top 10 finishes at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and has a lot to prove this season. I'm picking driver 22, Joey Logano, to win.
I like it. That's pretty good. Y'all left the door open for me to pick Brad Keselowski. So Brad Keselowski is my winner.
Go for it.
This week. Led 9 or more laps in the last 5 races at Las Vegas. I really want Truex, though. Rango, see, this was what's wrong with having our guests get their pick first, and then Rango Fowler comes in here. I know Rango's not actually making those picks. You know who I think's behind the picks of Rango Fowler?
Who?
Jeff Wackerlin.
Probably.
Because he currently is 30th in our league. 437 points.
Okay.
Anyways, what's going on this week on Twitter?
We just talked about it. We got the truck race tonight. PRN has the Xfinity race and the Cup race this weekend. And we're back on the plan next week at ISM Raceway in Phoenix.
Yeah. You need to watch the 1993 season 25 years later. Not watch it. Listen to it. On MRN.com. It's great. Every character you want to hear from in 1993 is on that show. It's great.
It brings back a lot of memories from my youth, watching Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Kyle Petty, Darrell Waltrip, Davey Allison, Alan Kowicki. Check it out on MRN.com.
Quickly, Xfinity winner, right off the top of your head. Go.
Christopher Bell.
I'm going to pick Kyle Busch. All right, here we go. We're going to end this show. We'll come back next week. Where are we going?
ISM Raceway.
ISM Raceway.
The Valley
We're
of the
going
Sun.
to Phoenix. The land of Harvick.
Yes.
We'll talk to you next week here on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.